we continue by entering some additional records here. Just random set of information that you're going to be entering. And of course, try to make the representative of each level and each department that you have in your list. So we have 2 more records to enter. It's a good idea for you to have your records written on paper so that it's easy for you to tell which ones you are going to have in your list. Always remember to put the apostrophe in front of any number that you're going to be entering as text, or else it's going to go automatically to the right. Now for this particular example, I'm only going to do 5 records, as I said. Only 5 I'm going to be entering. And this is just to give you a head start. I think that it's a good experience for you to build the street on your own, but sometimes I know it's difficult for students to get a head start. So this will be a head start for you on the project, and it helps to save time. So at least you know ahead of time exactly what you need to do. Now, once these headings are in, it's now time for us to enter the salary of the person. In other words, what is the pay rate that is going to be applied for this person, right? So we're going to put a function that will help us to decide on what the pay rate is going to be. Now the pay rate is listed in the table above, if you notice. And so what we're going to do, we're going to highlight an extra column. We can always extend it at a later time. Just add an extra column. We can extend it as needed. Format it nicely, make it look professional. And then we're going to use a function to help us to determine what pay rate will be applied to this person. Now, according to the data given, if you're a pay rate 1, then you're at level 1, your pay rate is going to be 525. So we want that information right here in the sheet. Now you're going to be using the VLOOKUP function to get that information. Type VLOOKUP, and you're going to specify what exactly it is that you're going to be looking for. So the function starts with the equals sign, open bracket, and then you're going to be looking for the particular level. So you select the cell that has a level, then you're going to be using the list provided. You're not going to enter the heading of the list, but you're going to select the entire list that has the information that you're going to be searching for. Now you're now going to specify the next column, which column of the list contains the value that you want. So in this case, the pay rate is listed in column 2. So you're going to type 2, and you want it to be an exact match. You want it to be exactly what you're searching for. So if you're searching for a number, the exact number. So you want to search for level 1, you'll look for level 1. So you want the exact match. So you're going to put false as your parameter to this function. And then close the bracket and press enter. And it picks out that particular level for that person from the list. So it goes way to the bottom of the list and it picks out 1,800 for that person. Now you want to do the same thing for all of the other cells in that column. You can do it very easily by simply copying the formula down. But before you can copy the formula down, you want to make sure that you will refer to the same list. So you're going to make the list absolute. So you made the list absolute by using the dollar sign in front of the column letter and the row number of the cells that you want to remain fixed. And then you copy the formula down. Once you do that, you'll notice that it automatically generates the rate for each person in your list. And of course, you're going to format it as a currency value. So you go into the numbers section of the menu and you select the dollar sign for. There are other options you can choose. Later on, I'll show you how to pick the currency format instead of the accounting format. The only difference is how much space it takes up in your cell. Notice that it takes up all of your cell. It's totally fully aligned. Currency format is slightly different. We'll talk about that at a later time. Now that you have the pay rate, you will want to calculate how much the person needs to be paid based on their hours worked. So you're going to enter the hours that this person has worked, and of course you select random hours. 40-hour work week, so typically it's going to be 40, but in some cases you can make it more depending on whether or not the person has worked extra hours for the week. So you can just select random hours, and then you can now decide what is going to be that person's basic pay based on their hours worked. So let's find out what the basic pay is going to be for this first person. In other words, what will be their pay based on the numbers of hours worked? Now, you will have in your sheet a section that enters the regular hours for work for these persons, and it's a good idea to put it at the top of your sheet, and then your overtime rate. In other words, if somebody works above the 40-hour work week, how much are you going to be paying them as overtime rate? How much more times the basic rate? So for each of these persons, their basic pay is going to be a combination of their level, their pay rate times 40. What is going to be different is their overtime pay. And it's going to be depending on how many hours they have worked overtime. Let's widen this cell, right? And now let's put in the values for the basic pay. So the basic pay is going to be equal to whatever the number of hours are for each person, which is 40 hours, multiplied by their basic pay rate. So the asterisk is used for multiplication. So you're going to multiply that by the pay rate for the person. Very interestingly, you're going to make sure that before you copy this formula, you make sure that the cell that contains the hourly rate, right, the basic regular hours for the week is fixed, because each person is going to use that same 40 hour to calculate their basic pay. So you copy the formula down and it is filtered into the cells.